topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to the Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. This is without a doubt my favorite show to do, and you will discover over the next few minutes why. It's actually my longest monologue before a show. But our next expert literally saved my life. Talking about an endorsement, I've never given such a great endorsement like this one. I had a sleep apnea problem, major, big snoring, and my doctors put me on what's called a CPAP machine. And if you know of anybody, or if you've ever worn one of those, it is without a doubt not the best way to sleep, though you don't snore. And about 2 years ago, I ran into our expert because everybody was asking us, how come you don't do a show on stop snoring? And I had tried everything I've tried. We hooked up, and she told me she had a technique that she developed. Now, when you've tried everything, you're going, yeah, right. I've seen it all. But I did give it a chance. And folks, let me tell you something. After 2 of her teaching sessions, it has been roughly about 5 months now. I do not wear my CPAP machine, and I do not snore. Let me welcome you to one of the greatest experts I have, Janet Bennett.
Hello. Thanks for having me on, Steve.
Yours is always so long because
That's
I
okay.
know what people go through, Janet.
I know.
And I thought I'd be on a CPAP machine for the rest of my life. I just told Janet, I just packed away my CPAP machine. And it's all because of you, Janet. Tell people about yourself and what you've done.
Okay. Well, I am a speech pathologist, and I have been for many years. And I specialize in the treatment of swallowing and sleeping better and breathing and another thing called tongue thrust. And tongue thrust is when you swallow incorrectly. So you may have seen some people with buck teeth. And that's the reason they have buck teeth is because when they swallow, their tongue pushes the back of their teeth and it makes them stick out. So that's the incorrect way to swallow, right? And so orthodontists and dentists send their people who have this way of swallowing to me so that I can change their swallow. Well, this in 2003, I was treating a 14-year-old football player for a tongue thrust. And I have a 7-week exercise program. So he had done 2 weeks of exercises, like Steve said he had. And on the 3rd week, he came into my office and his mother said, Janet, what have you done to Adam? And I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, well, he's always been the loudest snorer in the world and the windows rattle. She said, and now he's not making a sound. I didn't know anything about snoring. I looked at Adam and I said, "Tell me more, Adam." And he said, "Well," he said, "I'm doing better in school. I can concentrate better. I'm sleeping better, and I run faster." Well, when he said he ran faster, that got my attention instead of the snoring, actually. Um, and so I got on the internet and I just knew that I was going to find that they treat snoring with tongue exercises because that's all that Adam had done for 2 weeks. And but lo and behold, no, in 2003, I didn't find that at all. I found all these horrible things that they do, one being the CPAP. Of course, they really looked like Darth Vader back then because this mask was so
Yeah.
huge. And or they would break your jaw and move it forward so that your airway was bigger, or they would make you like a $6,000 retainer, um, or they would um, uh, do surgery to cut off part of your uvula, that thing that hangs down. Anyway, none of these things worked. I mean, I found them and I said, okay, do they work? And research showed that none of them worked. I mean, there was such a small percentage of help that it wasn't even worth mentioning. So that changed my life. And since that day, I have been totally passionate about sharing with the world these easy tongue exercises that will train your tongue to live on the roof of your mouth so that when you lay down to sleep, it doesn't fall down and block your airway. That's what it's all about. And if a person snores long enough, as enough years, and they get louder and louder, anyway, as gravity would have it, their tongue starts moving down more into their airway when they're sleeping, and they're snoring loudly, and that tongue, instead of just being partially down their airway to make the snoring sound, all of a sudden one night it will totally block the airway and the sleeper will go. So if anyone's sleeping with him or her, that's when they're saying, "Wake up, wake up, wake up." And that means that's a symptom of sleep apnea. So sleep apnea is different from snoring because you stop breathing during a sleep apnea episode. And and you might think, well, that's okay. It might be okay one time, but some people do it as many as 50 times an hour. And that's what you have to be aware of. Okay, so if you are sleeping and you wake yourself up with this kind of like a snort feeling, and you kind of rattle yourself, that was a part of your brain waking you up, saying, wake up, wake up. Your tongue's in your airway. And whenever you snort like that, it pushes your tongue out. Okay, so that if you are sleeping that way and you experience that, don't tell yourself that it's nothing, because it is very important that you go to your doctor and you get tested for sleep apnea, because stopping snoring, stopping breathing so many times an hour can hurt your heart very badly.
Tell people how dangerous it is if you have sleep apnea or sleep or you're snoring. How dangerous is it?
Well, you can die. Some people die from sleep apnea because
Yes.
their tongue stays down in their airway too long and they die. Okay? There's a certain part of the brain that wakes you up. In most people, there are some people out there who that part of their brain does not work. And so they are the really dangerous ones because they don't get any symptoms or signs that's going on. So it's really important. If you just, and if you wake up one morning and your significant other tells you that you did that snort and you don't remember doing it, don't laugh at them and tell them it's not true. They can't make that
Yeah,
up.
you've had such a great success rate, Janet.
Well, okay, so here's the deal. My program stops snoring. See, I can't say it stops sleep apnea because I'm not a medical doctor, all right? But I can say that it stops snoring. So I want you guys out there to think about this. If you are no longer snoring, your lips are closed when you're sleeping. And there's no way you can get sleep apnea while your lips are closed. So I'll let you come to your own conclusion on that. Okay.
Janet,
So
you just mentioned that your client was on a 7-week program with you. That sounds like a long time, but the actual technique that you provide is 10, 15 minutes. And if you can do it 3 or 4 times a week, like I did it 4 times a week, about 10 minutes.
wait a
And
minute. Wait a
yeah,
minute. You only did your exercises 4 times a week?
that's what I started off with.
Oh, you're
I
supposed
know.
to do your exercises 2 times a day. I'm really impressed now, Steve.
Yeah, no, I did it 4 times a week and for about 10 minutes. And after 2 weeks, I could tell I wasn't snoring. I took my CPAP machine off to see if it was working. So, and I didn't hear myself snore after 2 weeks, Janet.
Right. I know.
And it's
But
lasted for, I've been doing this now for 5 months. I still do my exercises 3 to 4 times a week because there's no way I want to go back on that CPAP machine.
But Steve, you don't have to do your exercises 3 or 4 times a week now,
I'm
right?
freaked out, Janet. I
Um,
don't ever want to put that CPAP machine back on.
okay, all right. Okay, so here's what Steve is talking about. I have a 7-week program. Each week, there are new tongue or lip exercises for the person to learn how to do. And you see, when when I discovered this, I felt the real need to save the whole world. I did, and I had to come up with a way where I could at least make contact somehow with a large percentage of the world. And I have done that now. I've produced all of my exercises are online. You can purchase an electronic program. Each week it's different, and you have to practice 2 times a day, not like Steve, 3 or 4 times a week. And yes, the exercises, they don't take long to do at all.
Mm-mm.
What's super good about this, one super good thing, is that when you get this electronic program, there's a place that you can go and you can see me teaching an adult male how to do every exercise. And it's by lesson. So, whatever lesson, if you're starting lesson 3, you can go check that out and you can make sure that you're doing the exercises correctly by watching me teach him. And also, I have another room now that you can click on, and I will be there waiting for you to exercise with me. You know, during the day, everybody's busy, and these exercises do not take long. And I think that maybe if it were me, I might be looking at these printed, because you can print out the exercises, these printed exercises. Oh, I've got to read this and figure out how to do it. Well, you don't now. You don't even have to pick up that paper. You just go to the exercise room and click on what lesson you want to exercise, and I will be there and I will do the exercises with you. You just copy me. If you have to do something for 5 minutes, I'll do the timing. If you have to do it 5 times, I'll count. I will get you through that exercise time 2 times a day. So it can't get any easier than that. Okay. Also, I want to tell you that a lot of people out there have a very large tongue, and you know who I'm talking about. Uh, those listeners, your tongue. Well, you used to. But
Remember, I used
anyway,
to bite my
so
tongue all the time.
I know. Okay. So this program, it trains your tongue to live on the roof of your mouth like this, up on the roof of your mouth. Right now, your tongue is probably living on the bottom of your mouth. Well, the bottom part of your mouth is larger than the upper part. And now, if we train your tongue to live up there, it's not going to fit. So we have to make your tongue skinnier. Simple. I know you're thinking, what do you mean simple? I had a person contact me because she had a tongue that was so wide she'd never been able to close her teeth. She was an avid mouth breather. Okay. And so are you out there listening and watching. If you wake up tired with a dry mouth, you're breathing through your mouth. Okay. Because the large tongue, when you're sleeping and all the muscles get relaxed, that tongue just kind of creeps forward and opens your lips. You didn't know you were doing that, maybe, you know? So my friend said that she had just gone to a doctor and he wanted to shave off the sides of her tongue. But then she found me on the internet and thought she would try my program first, which was a really good choice because I have what's called a tongue stick. And this tongue stick is so special because you use it to do certain things with it to make contact with certain muscles on the sides of your tongue. And it literally makes your tongue skinnier. And you also learn how to produce an isometric exercise between the tongue stick and your tongue, where you're putting pressure on each other to make your tongue more toned. So it gets stronger and more toned and skinnier, right, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
Okay. And so that's what makes all of this work together. Now, here's the really great thing. Whenever you make your tongue skinnier and you do your exercises, you are going to learn how to stop mouth breathing and you will become a nose breather, which is what you need to be. Mouth breathing causes a lot of illnesses like restless leg syndrome. That's a symptom of it. Waking up tired, GERD. There are lots of things that indicate that you're a mouth breather. If you wake up with your mouth dry, some people wake up with a sore throat or a headache that goes away pretty quickly. That means you're mouth breathing. And a lot of people, most people, don't understand how many things are connected to mouth breathing. But this program, and 7 weeks really is not long once you start doing it. But at the end of that 7 weeks, you are going to notice so many improvements in the way you feel that you will never believe that it could have been due to mouth breathing. I'm going to give you some more ideas of what's connected. Daytime sleepiness. You know, you drive around during the day and you are sharing the highways with a lot of sleepy people. And that's super
That's
dangerous.
correct. I was one of them.
Yeah, that's right. Asthma, people with asthma, now, people with asthma get worse when they breathe in cold air. So if you have asthma and you're breathing in through your mouth during the night or day, if you were to stop breathing through your mouth, you would start getting warm, clean air, and that would probably change the way your asthma is. A lot of people have stomach aches or pains after they eat, and you might say, what in the world does that have to do with snoring? Well, here's what it has to do with snoring, because snoring indicates that you need to breathe through your mouth normally, okay? You do while you're sleeping, or you wouldn't snore. Your lips have to be open. So when you go to eat something, let's say you put something in your mouth and you chew it, your lips are supposed to be closed. You know how growing up, your mom would say, keep your mouth shut. Anyway, so your lips are supposed to be closed. However, if you are a mouth breather, and you may never have noticed this about yourself, there's going to be some time while you're chewing that piece of steak that you have to crack your lips open to get in some air. And you're not aware of that at all. Okay. And that can cause you to be bloated and have a stomach ache after you eat. That's the connection between snoring, mouth breathing, and that bloated feeling that so many people have. There's also another thing that's real common, and that is people complain about feeling like something gets stuck right here in their throat. Um, it used to be that people would go to their ear, nose, and throat doctor or regular doctor, and they would stick that thing down the nose and look at the vocal cords, and they would say, I don't see anything. It all looks great, but you're hoarse. So they label them as being hoarse most of the time. But along with that, they would send them to a psychiatrist because they really didn't believe that, it might have been a mental problem. Well, that's not true. It's a real problem. A lot of people feel like something's stuck here, and that's because it is. Because when you swallow, if you aren't swallowing correctly, you have a weak swallow, and it's not strong enough to kick that food or whatever bolus down your throat and into your esophagus. So it's a true problem. Don't let anyone tell you that you're crazy, okay? Because you're not. You just have to learn how to breathe through your nose. Let's see some other things that can happen. You might need to get up during the night to go to the restroom more than one time. And I know here's another one that you would never think is connected to mouth breathing, but that's getting up and more than once to urinate during the night. And I'd have to get out my research book to read it to you, but it's associated with the chamber of the heart that gets a false sense of you having too much liquid in your body. And that's what gives you the feeling that you have to go to the bathroom. It's really quite interesting, but all of that changes. It goes away whenever you learn how to swallow right and breathe through your nose. Let's see, there are other things. Sometimes people,
I'm sorry, we've only got about 2 minutes. I want to
okay,
make sure everybody knows how to reach you, how to
okay,
set up an appointment with you.
okay. First of all, there's a 60-day money-back guarantee. And whenever you purchase this program, you now have access to me for a free 45-minute consult, which is huge. And it really helps people a lot. And I love to do it. So it's www.correctmytonguethrust.com, or you can email me at author, AUTHOR, at IJustWantToSleep.com. Got to connect snoring and tongue thrust and mouth breathing all together. And my phone number is 828-273-9888. I will answer you. I will email you back. Just get in contact with me. I'd love to help you.
And she does. Janet, I love you. Janet's with us every month. I made sure we changed her show to a national show. She's one of the only few people that we do a national show with. Folks, it works. That's all I can tell you. It works. Janet, thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless you. And our prayers are out there for your mom.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
That's Janet Bennett. She is amazing. Listen, I don't have to use a CPAP machine anymore. That's it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.